This is the second NAST live event. The first one was in a vape shop in Redmond. And now we're in a building that used to be a clothing store, so we're really doing something here.
Do you have any resentment, like bottled up towards them because of
Mom, Dad, I resent you. There we go.
Don't feed birds what they're not supposed to eat.
If you want me to stay, I'll be around.
We're rolling. We're live. NAST Live. Episode 2 of NAST Live. Number 2, 4-year anniversary. The first NAST Live, we only had one guest, one host, one performance. For number 2, we have 2 hosts, 2 guests, 2 performances. And our next guest, she's in the band or duo. I think it's a duo. She called it a band, but I'm going to call it a duo. Huh? Duo? Duo band.
Duo can be a
Feed
band.
the Birds with more than one eye. I think there's two eyes in Feed the Birds. And I discovered this guest when I was at a house and someone was playing music off their phone. And just off the phone sound alone, I fell in love with their music. It also turns out she has background vocals on Macklemore's Heist album. She just got off tour with Watsky. She's also made music with Seattle artist Soul. It's my pleasure to have on Camila Recchio. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
It must have been like the most out of the blue thing that I randomly just was like, hey, come do my NAST Live thing.
I mean, a little bit random, but it was right after a big tour, so I was like, oh, people are noticing us.
Yes, amazing. So how long have you, so for people who don't know, she's worked a lot with an artist named Watsky who tours a lot. And like, how did you get to know Watsky?
So you mentioned the Macklemore Heist thing, and on that project is Hollis Longweir. I think she goes by that as her performance name. But she did some writing on that project and is a feature on one of the songs. The name escapes me at the moment. But she did a poetry thing with Watsky. George is his first name.
Is his last name Watsky?
It is.
Okay.
I feel really weird calling him Watsky. So I refer to him as George, and the people are like, who are you talking about? So they were together in Youth Speaks, which is a poetry program, I think all over the U.S., and they became really close, and then Hollis and I both worked on the Macklemore thing, and she referred me to George, to Watsky, and
Nice.
yeah, I actually turned down the first tour request like an idiot. I don't know what I was thinking, but my intuition or something was like, this is going to come back around in 6 months, and exactly 6 months later it did.
Wow.
And we did Warped Tour 2014.
I didn't know how that
Yeah.
went.
That's sick.
It was cool. It was definitely like a childhood, because I'm growing up seeing like the commercials and shit. And like, oh, crazy. And you also at least when I was growing up, Warped Tour seemed like this thing that was like sex and drugs and, like wild rock music. And it was kind of like high school, like a summer camp for music adults. So there was definitely, there was like romance and drugs and things, but it wasn't as like scary as I had
But I
thought
thought
it was
that's
gonna
why
be.
it got canceled, because of the romance and drugs and things.
No, I don't think so.
No?
Wait, really?
Why did it get
I
canceled?
thought it was canceled.
It was canceled.
I thought it was
think
because of the
just-
romance and drugs and things.
I don't think so.
Canceled
think
because of
so.
romance.
Yes.
Romance. Someone fell too deeply in love.
So that's very interesting.
I don't think it was drugs.
I don't think I've
Now I
met
wanna go
anyone
online.
who's done Warped Tour. That's
Yeah, I
Dang.
did it twice. I did 2017 also.
wow.
Yeah.
Dang. So before that, you've been like musically doing music since you were like a child. You grew up in California, then you moved to Seattle when you were young, and you went to Waldorf school. And I know all this information about
I know,
you.
I'm so impressed. I'm like, shit. Do I have a Wikipedia page that I didn't know about?
Timmy made it for you, actually.
Hell yeah, thanks, Timmy.
So what brought you into wanting to do music at such an early age? It was like, you're like, how old are you? You're like under 10.
Yeah. So I've always had a pretty voice. My mom has a story from when I was in kindergarten where I would sing. When I was really, you know how kids have like a blanket or a teddy bear or something like that?
Yeah.
I had a song that my mom wrote for me. And so I listened to that every night, and apparently I super attached to it. And I definitely have a gift of a beautiful voice, you
Yeah.
know, humble brag. And so I would sing to the baby dolls at my kindergarten, and the teachers would like hide behind the door to listen to me sing my bedtime song to the baby dolls. And I was always really shy. I still am. I get crazy nerves whenever I have to perform. but-
Everyone look at her deeply. Look
I mean, I
deeply into
can
her.
feel all your eyes on me.
It might just be these bright ass lights. but
Well, they're
either
not
way.
helping. Yeah, and then I mean, I grew up like Waldorf does a lot of musical theater kind of stuff. It's a very like liberal arts school, so I was definitely reared in that kind of energy. And then I sang with the Total Experience Gospel Choir, which was a big Seattle staple for I think like 40 years. That choir was together,
Dang.
and
Do you
yeah,
know
we
about
did
that at all? I don't know.
it.
That's cool though.
It ended like a little over a decade ago, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, it hasn't been around for a minute, but I was in it for close to a decade. And
So it was like all ages, or
it was all ages. It was non-denominational. I mean, we were like singing Jesus music. It was a gospel choir.
I love you, God.
Yeah, it was some heavy that, which isn't necessarily, you know, I'm a spiritual person, but I'm not like super Jesus-y.
Okay.
But it was a really educational experience. I mean, we would sing in like synagogues and Buddhist temples, and it was not strictly Christian. It was more about kind of like sharing that cultural experience.
What about like Christmas time? Do you like Christmas carols?
Yeah.
Okay.
I heard
So-
that those were written by Jewish people for the most part, though. All the good ones.
What about dreidel, dreidel?
Well, I mean, they probably wrote that too, yeah.
Whoa.
Maybe Christian people wrote that one, and it's just like the reverse.
What were you gonna say, Carter?
I was going to ask what your spirituality is like. If it's not religious per se, what is your practice?
Deep question. So I don't think that this is the only experience we have. I don't believe that when we die, we like go into the dirt and just get eaten by worms. I feel like there's more to this experience than that. And that, I mean, if we're really gonna get into it, my belief is kind of close to the TV show, The Good Place. Have we seen this? Yeah. I watched that shit and I was like, that's my beliefs. I feel that. What they got to at the end, right? Like the end, whatever, the afterlife that they created by the end of that show. So yeah, like you go through life and you kind of fumble through shit and you learn, and the whole point is to learn and like hold yourself accountable as you go, and then you die. And I would love to believe, maybe this is just me wanting to not be super nihilistic, but like, yeah, you go up or around or somewhere
To the good place.
to the good place,
Okay.
and you like assess your experience and look at like, oh, I maybe could have done that better, learn from that experience, and then you do it again and have little aspects of what you learned from the one before. So I guess
Okay.
reincarnation maybe.
Is it like big wishing well of souls kind of hovering above us, or what's your? You know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
do.
what's
I'm trying to think. I
thing,
haven't
yeah.
really thought about that before. It's funny because where my brain goes is, well, they're not hovering above us. They're like dimensionally, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. We're such three-dimensional human beings. So like, I think we conceive of things as like, oh, they're just above us. It's like
Yeah.
maybe they're consciously in a different space. I guess it's
Or
kind of
this
a
space.
consciousness thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, which you can kind of get into, you know, people who pass away or whatever, like maybe they're protecting you or guiding you, or that they exist in or can come into your space but are in a different dimension, so you can't like see them or experience them. I feel like I'm coming up with this right now.
Yeah.
This is some heavy shit, guys.
We were all
Welcome to
invested.
my religion.
And
It's called The Good Place.
But you were like pretty Christian growing up though, because you've been in gospel or no?
I was raised Christian for sure. I mean, we went to the Unity Church, which is like, I think what they're like saying is where the heart of Christ meets
Jesus
the
Christ.
mind of Buddha or something like that. So it's definitely like kind of, it's Christ-centered, but like open to interpretation, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
We all like God, maybe?
I mean,
don't know.
I think it connects us, and it's important to feel connected. Ultimately, I guess that's the heart of it.
Yeah.
I think
We could take the Timmy approach and all do shrooms together, too.
we could, that's some
Amazing.
good place shit right there.
Yes.
I'm not mad at that idea.
So you started like recording super young too, right? You came across like a mentor type guy.
Yeah. So I call him my surrogate dad. His name's Jerry James. And he had put together this studio in his backyard, like back house, what would have been like a workshop or something.
Okay.
He turned it into a studio. Like he had one little recorder thing, like a Tascam,
Okay.
like the OG, And he taught me a couple chords on the guitar, and then I came back like a week later and was like, I wrote 3 songs. Can I record them? And we were off. Yeah, I was letting all my emotions out via the lyrics of my songs.
And how old were you at that time?
I was in 7th grade.
Dang.
So how old would that be?
No idea.
13,
right?
yeah. 12 or 13.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did you start recording?
Recording.
Yeah.
I recorded stuff in middle school, like 7th grade.
Okay.
I feel like it blooms at that age. Your curiosity starts to
Yeah.
you sort of focus in on something and are like, I want to try to do this a lot. It makes me feel good.
Yeah, totally. I was writing songs like way earlier than that, though.
Oh, really?
When I was little doing gymnastics, I have a memory of a song I wrote.
Gymnastics?
Shut up.
I
I
did
taught
gymnastics when I
gymnastics
was-
to kids when I was younger.
What if you were my
I know. That'd be crazy. You grew up here?
Yeah.
I mean, it could have happened.
Lake City.
Yeah.
Northeast Seattle. Really?
Was it the Little Gym?
No.
Oh,
No.
damn,
it was
Man, we were
So
so close to
close.
something there.
Seattle
So close.
Gymnastics Academy.
I went there.
Oh.
I did gymnastics there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So maybe we were there together.
Maybe that's what it is.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm reuniting you guys to this podcast.
We've been walking this road for a long time.
Yes.
It's good to see you again.
Yeah. I felt it. There's a kindred energy here.
Amazing. So in 7th grade, did you have like goals for your music? Or were
Oh
you
my
just-
God, like through the freaking roof. Yeah. I've chilled out a lot about that shit since then. But I've also gotten to achieve a lot of those goals,
Yeah.
so maybe that's part of it. Yeah, no, I, wanted to travel the world and sing, and I think I had a different idea I had a different value in relationship to fame at that time. Yeah, I think because you're like, it's all your imagination and just like what you're taking in, and I mean maybe somewhat now it's like influencers and kids are like, I want to be an influencer because it just seems like the most glorious sparkly thing.
Next thing you know, you're taking pictures with a baker.
What? Oh, I didn't register. I got it. It was good.
Was that the underwear story?
Yeah. That was the best story I've ever heard. But I think we're good. If you need to talk afterwards.
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good with all that.
Amazing. Okay. So, and then your dreams, you made your dreams happen, or were you crushed?
No, my dreams got rearranged because, as you move through life, reality sets in and
Snap back to reality. Eminem.
Ooh. Yeah, but I got to travel all over the world and sing, and
How'd that happen?
with Watsky.
Okay.
Actually, the gospel choir too.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hallelujah.
yeah, hallelujah.
Amen.
It started there.
So I'm kind of wondering about because you're talking about like passion and emotion and release and writing from an early age. How did that develop with you bringing music or making music into more of a career for you? Like, did it stay emotional and this kind of channel thing, or did you lose touch with that?
No,
And-
it's super still
Yeah.
a channel, but it has gotten like really crafted. So I feel like when I was younger, I wasn't very good at like someone would give me a prompt, and then I try to write to that prompt, or certain things like writing really literally was really hard for me. I was a real metaphoric writer, probably because I was trying to be really honest about something, but not like let someone know exactly what's going on in my life.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So kindred.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as I got older, like, you know, just writing in different situations and writing to different genre styles. And I feel like I've gotten a lot better at, I did something recently where I just it was a session I had last week, and they had they had like half of the chorus written, and they needed me to just kind of finish it out. And just real quickly, I was like, oh, that makes sense, and it would be fun to do live this way, and, you know, this is kind of chanty. And I, in that moment, was like, oh, when I was younger, I couldn't really do that. You know, that's something I've picked up over the years and in experiences performing live. You know, I'm like, oh, this would work live because I've done things like that and they worked, you know? Yeah.
So it seems like that music is something that you've been able to make a career. When was that switch when you were able to do that?
Well, when I was probably 25 was when it really started to bring money into my life. My like hesitation is that still, and maybe it's like a protective mechanism, like this is something I work on in myself, is like the confidence and the trust. Because like I'll get imposter syndrome real bad around, like if I'm doing a resume for something music, right? And like I'm a professional singer that's performed all over the world, and the imposter in my head is like, no, you're not. And then I have to be like, yes, I am. We were literally just on the other side of the world performing, like own the professional aspect of it. So there's a part of me still, which maybe it's like this was a conversation. So I was just on this month and a half tour all over the world with Watsky.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Another humble brag. It was amazing. And that conversation came up a lot about imposter syndrome. And, you know, we were sort of talking about ways that you can talk to that voice and like redirect it, because ultimately what it's trying to do is encourage you to be better at your craft. It's that sort of like, it's never good enough, but if you were to flip that statement, it's like, I just want to be better at this. It's not that it's unattainable, it's that I know I can do more than I'm currently doing, which doesn't negate what I'm doing currently. Like, you know,
You don't want to get stagnant. You
gotta
wanna have goals.
give yourself credit for where you're at and grow. Yeah,
100%. That's super cool. So with that, you're back here in Seattle, and what are your goals now? Like after you have this
If that's
crazy
not the
resume.
question.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm in a really big, I was just earlier today, like, I'm in this big life transition because I just turned 35 and I've always wanted to be a mom, like have, you know, a family. And when I was younger, I was telling myself, like, we're not doing that until we've had a music career or like experienced, like felt fulfilled within music, because that is my initial baby. It like lives very large in my heart. I feel like I'm missing something when it's not in my life regularly. And but I didn't want to have kids, and you know, it's like that would become my main focus. And then potentially I would like resent my choices, or, you know, worst case scenario, resent my kids because I didn't allow
Like
myself
Timmy
to
and his
have
parents.
this experience. Yeah. So now I'm kind of like, maybe it's time to move into that, which is just a weird.
But you're in a duo, so what do you do with that?
Well, we're working on it.
Oh.
we're kind of going through like the growing pains of being a long distance
Because they're in LA.
duo. Yeah, he's in LA, and I mean, luckily it's like a 2.5-hour flight to LA, so that's not too difficult. But I did that last year. Every 2 weeks I was on a plane, and
Dang.
that was a little rough. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't like flying. I have flight phobia.
Really?
Yeah, I hate it so much. But I won't let it get in the way of an adventure. So I'll just be on the plane with like clammy hands and thinking, body, if something were to go wrong, what are these slippery hands gonna do? They're not gonna help you with anything. This is not a helpful evolutionary thing I have. But I like traveling more than I'm afraid of flying. So
Yeah.
at least there's that.
Your duo's name, so is it a duo or a band?
I don't know. I think about that a lot too.
I think it has to have more than,
Do you think so?
I don't know.
No, it can be two, like the Black Keys. It's
Okay.
2 people.
Okay, fair enough.
Mm.
I get you sound like a band, so I
Band.
guess that's what it like.
Well, and so that's the funny thing. So Kush Modi is
Yeah.
my partner, my bandmate, and he plays every instrument and like wants to. So when we were initially thinking of like, okay, what are our live shows gonna look like? He was like, I want to play the keys for this song. I want to play the bass for this song. I want to play the guitar for this one. And then he's like, what do you think about a drum kit? I'm like, are we gonna want to put all that together and take it all down every night? You know,
Right.
let's like think about how to make it functional, but also show off that like you are the band of this, and then I'm the like writer and singer. So yeah, I guess in that case we're a band.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's called Feed the Birds.
yeah.
And I've been told you're not supposed to feed birds because they
Well,
explode.
we're rebels.
Right?
Yeah.
Because they're robots.
They're either robots.
Anybody remember that?
I do remember
Yes,
that.
birds aren't
Birds
real.
aren't real?
Well, was that their birds aren't?
Yeah, just like the
They had, like, a
viral birds aren't
slogan.
real thing.
My thought on that is that it was initially meant to be like a parody, like a crazy joke, and then people actually attached to the idea
Yeah.
and were like, they are robots, and that is a government drone.
Yeah.
They have to. Have you read this shit? It's crazy.
Yeah.
They have to land on the telephone wires because that's what charges them back up again.
So you've really
I've seen
dived
the
into
memes.
this.
It's so interesting to me. It's just-
Amazing.
I mean,
but then the
yeah.
literal thing too, like you're not supposed to feed birds, right?
Yeah,
And
I
like
don't
you're
think
like
so.
you're promoting feed the birds, but like they're not supposed to eat bread because they can't digest it or some shit.
Yeah, definitely be aware of what you're feeding the birds. Like
Look at the
only
camera
birds
and
safe
say that.
food. Okay.
PSA.
Don't feed birds what they're not supposed to eat.
Okay.
I think also, you know, if I'm going to get a little political, like the birds need to be fed with the fresh air and like
Ooh.
the environmental things. And so all these big ass companies that are out here poisoning our planet need to chill the fuck out
There we go.
so we can feed the birds with the fresh air.
Yes.
Boom.
Like, that's like a really wide way of getting to
Yeah.
that what we're saying is actually helpful.
And
So
why are
the
you
name
feed-
is a passion thing.
Yeah. Well, actually, the name was really random. The band came together because Koosh and I both overthink our music.
But it's, by the way, it's spelled Kush though, right? It's
Koosh,
but it's-
but it's spelled Kush.
yeah. So
Well,
I just
yeah.
wanted to. So you and him both have like names that
Yeah.
don't sound like others.
Yeah. We're out here just fucking people up all the time. And Biirds has 2 eyes in it. And people always think it's Free the Birds, but, you know. And it's not about Mary Poppins. They think that too.
Okay.
Yeah, we just like to fuck people up a little bit. Gently.
And then it came to about because of
Oh, yeah, because so we were really good friends, and we talk a lot about just how we kind of get hung up on sharing music and like sharing creative ideas, and he, you know, is this really talented producer and musician, and I have the writing and the singing, and so we're like, okay, well, we're 2 pieces of a puzzle that like fit really well together. I have what you don't, you have what I don't. We get along really well. So let's start this band and let's not overthink it. Let's just like, when I start to get too precious, let me know. And when you start to get too precious, I'll let you know. And, you know, we have a high bar, so nothing's gonna suck. You know, we kind of have that level of like, you can trust me, I'm not gonna let you like do anything stupid. And yeah, so it was sort of birthed out of the idea of like, let's put out music that we're not hyper attached to and just sort of play with it, let it be like a blank canvas. And
that's wild to say because it's a pretty successful band. I feel like.
well, we're working on it.
So are your fans called? Who are your fans? The Biirds though, or what are your fans?
Let's do it
called?
right now. Let's name them the Biirds.
Okay.
We don't. Our fans don't have a name.
Okay.
We're not.
We're all
quite
the
that
Biirds
static.
now.
The Biirds.
Cool.
We'll feed you.
Yes. So we're almost out of time, but I'd like to know, like, if you for touring so much, like, do you have any fun like tour stories?
Okay. Let me think here. Well, actually, okay. So Timmy and I earlier were talking about. You were telling me about how you had to go on the ski lift to get up to the ski lodge, and that reminded me of a story when I had to get on a gondola. This all sounds like bragging, but bro, my life's just bomb. So we were in Sweden, Switzerland, and we were doing this. It was like a tour in Europe of festival shows, and there was this opportunity to go on a gondola up so fucking high into the Swiss Alps, and I got scared because I have this heights thing, like the planes and the right. I don't want to be in a small tube
Yeah.
high above the air or the ground.
Oh, we were talking about that because of elevators. You don't.
Yeah, I
wanna
don't
be-
like elevators
Yes.
either. Maybe it is a little bit of a claustrophobia mixed with heights thing.
In planes.
Yeah, I'm just like stuck in a space that I'm not in control of. So So it's a control issue too.
Oh,
This is
I
like a
feel that.
therapy podcast.
Yes.
You guys are bringing out all the dark truths.
we're marriage counselors also. So
I'll call you if I ever need that.
yes.
But yeah, so I was so nervous, and like we're going up the thing, and it's gorgeous, and they on the gondola it said like only 10 people can go on this, and we had like 17, and the little old man is like, everybody get on, it's fine. And I was like, bro, are you sure you're like in charge of this thing? And they're all talking about like, what if it fell down, and I'm like, can we just wait until we're up there or back down here, like not when we're on it? And then we got up there, and like it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I was so grateful that they peer pressured me into that. It was stunning. We yodeled.
And no one died.
Nobody died.
That's
The gondola stayed together. That's the thing. I might jinx this. The gondola, the airplanes, the elevators, they always do what they're supposed to do.
except for some people.
Well, that's why I knocked on the table.
There we go. Well, this has been amazing. Thank you for coming and doing this. Like, we had lunch at O Sun Cafe, and we all really hit it off, and it went really well. So
Congratulations
now we're here.
on your
Thank you
anniversary.
so much, and thank you everyone for being here. We're about to get into performances, and this has been great. This has been NAST Live #2, the NAST 4-year anniversary with me, Blake, Carter, and Camila Recchio. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, Camila.